What's going on, YouTube? My name is Kay. I've always wanted to start a channel. I've actually tried to for a couple of years, and it never works out because I always end up saying, which is basically what I'm gonna try to make this first video about. I always end up saying, like, you know, like I want the better camera equipment, like I want this better situation, you know, like I always want things to be better, and I feel like I need the perfect, so I feel like I need the perfect like setting to really get stuff done, and I feel like that's not always the case in life. Like, that's how you end up losing. And I decided to take my own advice. So basically for this video, like, it's better to just start doing whatever you want to do, honestly, without first, it's better to just start, right? Now you can start, whether, if we want to take like YouTube videos, for example, right? Like, it's better to just start, whether you have like a small camera, you have like your iPhone, like you don't need like a whole professional camera equipment and stuff. And it's like, I'm trying to take that advice right now. So basically right now, that's where I'm at, where it's like, you know, you really want to just get going, because the most important part in whatever you're doing in life is the effort and the results that you produce. It doesn't matter how you get to it or how you do it. It's all about the results and the effort, right? So if you think about, sorry about that. Oh man, I hate when people can't drive. So yeah, how you do it, right? It's about the results that you produce. So in terms of like making videos and stuff, you want to have like your results speak for what you're trying to do. So like in terms of videos, like the results would be the end product, like the content, which is what I really started saying to myself, like, you know, like I really want to get content out there because I want to at least help somebody. Like my whole goal for even creating a channel and wanting to do this is because I feel like I can help a younger version of myself, and I feel like there's a lot of people that are younger versions of myself, which I can actually help or give advice. You know, like a lot of mistakes that I made in life that I wish like I had somebody to really tell me or like advise me. And it's like I help people in real life, but I feel like that's not enough, because like when I help them, I see the results and I see like the change and I see like the positive outcome that comes from it, and I'm just like, wow, like imagine if I could do this to more people. So I was like, you know, like I really want to make a channel in terms of like just sharing advice and like sharing different things, whether it be like financial advice, relationship advice, like, you know, just different steps that you take in life that I've personally experienced, and or like struggles that, you know, you may have to overcome, or stuff you may deal with, like, you know, like depression and stuff like that. Like there's not a lot of people talk about that, and I feel that that's a major reason why a lot of this stuff goes on that it does in life today, is because we have all of these platforms like social media and, you know, Instagram and stuff, where like it's glorified for you to promote your best life. Like the whole, like there was a whole campaign around live your best life, but it's like your best life isn't every day. So what do you tell somebody when it's not Saturday and Sunday, right? When it's Monday and you got to go to a job that you really hate? Like, you can't always keep it in your mind where you're living your best life in terms of like it's always going to be happy. And I feel like social media did a really bad job with that, in terms of like having everyone believe that everyone is living their best life. Because truthfully speaking, like the only time you go to social media besides just looking at stuff, like when you post something, you want to post the best parts of your life. That's honestly one of the main reasons why they made it, is for attention. And, you know, people get hooked on that. It's like it reduces, like people get hooked on that stuff. Like the dopamine that's released from that is just like you're craving the attention, you're craving like the fictitious positivity that you receive, And I feel like that's a problem in society right now, in terms of like we we don't really talk about the truths, and we don't really share the bad stuff that's happening. So just getting off topic a little bit, getting back to what I originally wanted to talk about, with this being my first video and all, is just the ability to start with stuff. Like, a lot of people have goals. I don't know why this guy is like trying to run me off the road, but a lot of people have goals that they want to accomplish, and they never really get to accomplish them because they never start. And if you don't start, then you can never know where you would end up. And there's like a famous saying that says the only time you fail is when you give up. So you can start, and you can try for your whole life, and you've honestly never been a failure. The only time you become a failure is when you give up. So if you think about it in the terms of you actually starting, if you never start, then you fail before you even started. And if you have something in you where you think that, and you say to yourself, like, man, I want to be successful. Like, to become successful, it just, and you know, a lot of people want to be successful, but and that's another problem with like the world that we live in terms of like social media and stuff, is like, you want to be successful, like you want to get started, you want to do something, whether you want to open a business or you want to like do certain, like, I don't know, like hobbies, you want to like turn that into like monetary, you want to find a way to make money through that. Like, no matter what it is, like, you want to be successful in your own right. So to be successful doesn't necessarily mean, like, it's a common misconception. Like, for years, and this is where I struggled, but at the same time I also excelled, because in whatever I do, I'm gonna break down how I used to think about being successful, and you guys can probably notice like some similarities with probably how you think about being successful right now. And then I'm gonna tell you what it actually means to be successful, right? In my opinion, of course. And this is what really shifted for me when I thought about it like this. So before, I used to think that being successful meant that you would have to, like, you know, have a lot of money, and you would have to be like, you know, the best in the world at something. And whenever I would do something, whether it be like, you know, like, let's say I pick up a new hobby when I was like a kid or a teenager or something, or like I start like doing a different business or something, like I will always say to myself, like, who are the best? Who am I emulating? Who are the best in this field, right? And I will say, I will measure my success based on how successful I am compared to them. And what I found out recently is that's the wrong way to go about being successful, because you can always compare someone to someone better, right? But that doesn't mean that the person that is on the lesser scale is not successful. They're also successful. If you compare them to someone else, they're successful. So if you look at it in terms of you doing something, like you may have started something, let's say you started a business and you're only making a couple $100 a month, right? Like, you may say to yourself, I'm not successful, I don't have a successful business. But if you look at it compared to someone who has no business, or who hasn't started, or who's negative, no matter if it's $1 million company, they're negative every month. If you're profiting a couple $100 every month, you're successful compared to that person. So being successful doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best, or you're the top person in that specific area in whatever you're doing. Being successful, and this is what got through to me recently and really changed my whole idea and outlook on it, and has actually made me go a lot harder, is being successful doesn't mean any of those things. Being successful means that you are the best version of yourself. So basically, whatever idea you have for yourself, whether you want to make $100,000 a year or you want to make $10 million a year, when you accomplish that goal, or when you're doing what you wanted to do, that's when you can say to yourself, I'm successful. You're a successful version of yourself. That's how you have to look at it. You don't want to compare yourself to someone else, because someone else has different goals than you. We're all different, and we all have different things that we want out of life. So you can't compare yourself to someone else that you don't fully know their story and say that you're not successful because of that. Like, they may have had stuff easier than you. They may have had stuff harder than you. Like, you can't compare your path to their path and then say that you're not successful because of that. Like, that's not really what being successful means. Being successful is being successful in your own version. You're being the best version of yourself that you can be. So when you say at the end of your life, it's like, man, I couldn't have done anything different, I couldn't have done anything It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get to become a billionaire or the next, Bill Gates or something. Like, it just means you have maxed out your potential. We all have a potential, whether we want to admit it or not. Like people say, like you can dream and do anything you want to do. That's true, but at the same time, we all have a limit that we can get to. Once you go past that limit, you become sort of self-destructive to yourself. So we all have a limit, and each of our limit is at different heights compared to the other. So you can't really say, like, I'm not successful because this person is, richer than me. Like, they may be richer than you, but you may be more successful in other ways. Like, it's all about how you look at yourself. So I think that it's important that you really look at. So I think that it's important that you really define what you want to say to yourself as, when I get to this point, this will let me know that I'm successful, right? And that also goes with starting, because a lot of the time we really don't want to start something because we look at people that are more successful in their area, and we look at people that are, doing better, and we say, like, this person is so far ahead of me that when I start, it's going to be discouraging for me to even attempt doing what they're doing, because I want to get to their level, but they're so far away. You want to keep in your head where you want to get to. You want to have that version of yourself that you want to get to. That's the only thing that you honestly want to chase. Like, it's healthy to want to get to a level where you match other people and stuff like that. But like I said, we each have a different path in life. So you're going to have stuff thrown at you that they haven't had thrown at them. And you're going to breeze past stuff that they couldn't breeze past. So you can't really compare yourself to people like that. And I used to do that a lot. And in some ways it's helped me, because it's helped me be competitive. So it's like, I used to look at people like, wow, this person is successful in this. Like, I want to do this. Like, let me start doing this. Oh, this person is doing this. Like, I need to do this better. How can I do this better? And that's how my mind worked before. And honestly speaking, the reason why I said that there's some, like, it's a little bit healthy is because when I did that, like, it made me so much better than people that started at the same time as me. It was like I leapfrogged past them into a higher caliber. It's like I leapfrogged past them because my eyes was looking ahead. Like, I was looking at the top. I wasn't looking at where I started. So you can have a healthy balance of that, where you look at someone that's up there and you also have that best version of yourself. I feel that's a good combination, because when I did that, it's like I only wanted to learn from the best, and I only wanted to be around the best because I wanted to get better. It's like when you play basketball or you play a sport, right? When you play with someone that you can beat, you don't try your hardest. But when you play with people that are competitive, or people that you're nowhere close to as good as them, you start playing harder. And after time, when you keep playing harder and harder, you get better. But if you keep playing with people that are, on a lower level than you, on the same level than you, then you can't really improve and you can't really get better. So if you look at it in terms of, like, you want to be successful, and you look at it in terms of you want to look ahead and see people that's on a higher level, but at the same time have a version of yourself defined where you can say to yourself, like, when I get to this level, I'll become successful. And you always want to keep revisiting that, whether it be like a sketch or you write something down. Like, you always want to keep revisiting that to the point where you're improving yourself, because you can have something like that and then get to that point and then just stop, and then you can start moving backwards. So in order to keep moving forward, you got to keep setting new goals and keep redefining what you want to say to yourself as, this is the pinnacle of my success, or this is where I want to get to. And a lot of successful people, that's another thing that they do, is they always reinvent themselves. You always want to do something better. You always want to look, when you get to this level, because you are going to get there. Once you start writing stuff down, you start consciously thinking about stuff, like, you're going to get to that level. Like, the only thing that you have to do then is to set a new goal. You always want to keep the steps in front of you. In other words, you always want to keep one foot in front of the other. You want to keep going. Once you keep that momentum, then you don't start falling back, or you don't settle. And you never want to settle in life. So I know that my advice is a little bit all over the place. I actually had a lot of topics that I wanted to discuss, and I actually wrote down like different headlines, and I was just gonna go off of that. But I think I'm gonna try to get like a little bit of structure so that you guys could like get the advice clearly. Like each video is gonna be about a specific topic. So if you like this video, I know the content is all over the place, it's not really the best, but basically the overall message of this video is the reason why I'm kind of gonna put this video out the way it is that you want to just start doing something. You don't want to wait. Like for example, for me, I wanted to do this for like 3 years. Like for 3 years, I've always started. I've made the videos, cut the videos, and I just never post them. And I said to myself, I'm like, listen, like the stuff that I have, I don't really care anymore in terms of like how I want the message to be viewed. Like I don't care if it's looking choppy. I don't care if the audio's a little bit bad. Like I'm gonna improve on that. But the main thing is I want to get the content out there, because the message is the powerful part. The message is the results. Whatever your result you produce, it doesn't matter how you got to that result. The most important part is the result. And I feel like once you start taking steps towards getting that result, you're gonna find stuff that'll make getting that result easier. So you're gonna find a better camera, you're gonna find better audio equipment, you're gonna find better ways to structure your videos so that you can have it more concise. Like you're gonna find better ways to do it, but you'll never find that if you don't start. So you'll always be in analysis paralysis when you don't start, because you're like, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have this, I don't have that. And I'm just using like starting a YouTube channel as a reference, but this applies to everything in life. And it's like, even when I look at it now, it's like I have camera. Like I remember when I first wanted to start, which was even further than 3 years ago, it was like I didn't even have money to buy camera equipment. Like now I have a bunch of camera equipment just sitting around. I have computers just sitting around, and it's just like I have everything that I ever wanted to do this with, and it's like I never did it because I never got around to doing it. If I had just took steps, I would have been so much further. If I had just took action, I would have been so much further ahead than just waiting